Hello and welcome. Here's what's happening right now. Canada's economy facing an uncertain future.
Two can play the game and it can escalate very, very quickly to the detriment of everyone.
Bracing for the financial fallout and calls for countermeasures.
It's a completely ridiculous economic policy.
How far did markets fall in response to raised tariffs?
You see that ancient nebulous cloud streak right across the sky.
Plus, the bright future of gazing into dark skies for tourism.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
We begin with the new reality facing the Canadian economy today as the United States increases tariffs to 35%. The Prime Minister expressing disappointment and vowing the government will try to minimize the impact and protect Canadian jobs. The tariffs will not affect goods that are compliant with the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. Still, it will hurt industries. We have extensive coverage for you, including what you will be paying more for. We begin with CTV's Rachel Ayala. What is Trump's rationale and the response from Ottawa, Rachel?
Heather, U.S. President Donald Trump boosting tariffs from 25% to 35% on some Canadian goods, citing months-old countermeasures and accusing this country of failing to stem the flow of drugs at the border, has riled Canadian leaders and revived calls for retaliation.
Do you think the government should retaliate? Have you spoken to the premiers at all about these recent tariffs?
Federal ministers had little to say today when pressed on Canada's next steps.
Prime Minister's trying to get the best deal he can for Canadians.
That wasn't the case when it came to provincial premiers.
We need to control what we can control. First and foremost, that is controlling the opportunities that we have in advancing our Canadian economy.
Or border town mayors.
Well, I think everything should be on the table. Two can play the game.
Retaliation wasn't mentioned in the Prime Minister's post-midnight response to the escalating trade war. In a statement, Mark Carney said the federal government is disappointed by the U.S. action and will act to protect Canadian jobs. He also took aim at Trump justifying the tariffs on the basis of the cross-border flow of fentanyl, but said this country will continue to negotiate with the U.S. while working to make Canadians their own best customers. The Canadian business community slamming Trump's justifications.
We know it's false. They know it's false. This is the pretext that's being used to try to defend these tariffs in the courts.
While there's relief that exemptions under the North American Free Trade Agreement remain, stakeholders want the revenue from Canada's countermeasures to start flowing to those on the front lines of the trade war.
It's right now all bad, not at the end of the rope, but pretty close to it.
Trade experts say while the current situation is not ideal, no deal is better than a bad deal.
A good deal for Canada is not just a baseline tariff with a USMCA exemption. It really is getting to the heart of the problem for us, which is those sectoral tariffs, those industry-specific tariffs like steel, like autos.
Carney's lead minister on the file is coming back from D.C. tonight without meeting with any new Americans today. But Dominic LeBlanc's office assures us he is keeping in touch with his U.S. counterpart, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Heather?
CTV's Rachel Ayala in Ottawa. Thank you. Global stocks slumped this morning after Trump raised tariffs not only for Canada but dozens of countries. The market today reacting to those announcements. CTV's Kamal Karmali is following this angle for us. Kamal.
Heather, Canada's main stock index posting its biggest percentage decline in nearly 4 months. The TSX dropping nearly an entire %. Now, while Wall Street also shaken today with steep losses that began early in the day and didn't let up at close, Dow Jones plunging more than 540 points, S&P 500 dropping 1.6%, and NASDAQ Composite sank over 2.2%. The European stocks posted also their biggest drop since early April, with some benchmark stock indexes dropping 2 to 3%, with the European Union hammering out a trade deal with the United States that includes 15% tariffs on European goods. Economists say there's a lack of detail to the deal, leaving an unknown impact of it on the European economy and consumers.
You should expect price to increase in the short term on the consumer, which should impact demand. We think that over the next 12 to 18 months, the U.S. economy is going to slow, primarily due to the fact of that push-pull, as you mentioned, on price on consumer.
And also weighing on U.S. equities, a 8% tumble for Amazon and Apple dropping 2.5%. Heather.
All right, Kamal, thank you. CTV's Kamal Kermali for us in Toronto. There's been very little coming from the White House today on the matter of a trade deal with Canada, but weak job numbers south of the border certainly getting a response. The U.S. added just over 70,000 jobs in July, far lower than expected. CTV's Joy Malvin joins us from Washington. Joy, what more can you tell us?
You know, it feels like a double whammy, Heather. You see a lot of red in the stock market combined with a weak U.S. jobs report, the worst since COVID. Now, the president was so frustrated, he fired the senior commissioner who oversees that jobs report, accusing her of rigging the numbers to make him look bad. Now, he's lashing out after his sweeping tariffs are rattling the global economy. We've seen protests in Brazil, shock in Switzerland, and Republicans are getting an earful at town halls. Here's what the president had to say about that bad jobs report.
Because I think her numbers were wrong, just like I thought her numbers were wrong before the election. Days before the election, she came out with these beautiful numbers for Kamala, I guess Biden/Kamala, and she came out with these beautiful numbers trying to get somebody else elected. Then right after the election, I think on the 15th, November 15th, she had an $800,000 or $900,000 massive reduction.
Joy, I want to switch gears here. We're focused on trade. Trump's focused on jobs. Meanwhile, on the Epstein scandal, there has been an update on his former associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this is raising eyebrows, Heather. Convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell is being moved from a federal prison housing violent offenders to a lower security prison camp in Texas without any explanation. The cells are like dorms, little to no fencing. And this comes after the president's personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, now Deputy Attorney General, interviewed her last week. Now, the family of one of the victims is outraged that she's getting preferential treatment, and they're demanding that the Trump government release what it knows about her and Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Heather?
CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malvin for us. Joy, thank you. From global markets to Canada's economy, the impacts of tariffs are far-reaching and also a little confusing. There are exemptions for some products, while certain sectors are getting hit harder than others. CTV's Geneviève Bushman sifted through the fine print for us and breaks down what you need to know. Geneviève.
Yeah, Heather, CUSMA has been touted as an escape hatch from some of the tariffs, but how much will it actually shield businesses and consumers? Well, that's not quite clear.
The deal signed in 2018 by Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. exempts a wide range of products from tariffs. Take grown and raised in Canada food products. They're covered by that free trade agreement.
If you look at some of the products that we export, those are unprocessed products, live animals, live hogs, live cattle, wheat, canola, those sorts of things. Those are pretty clearly and obviously Canadian.
And a big percentage, 86% of Canada's exports have the potential to qualify for that exemption. That's on paper, though. In practice, only nearly 40% of trade happened under CUSMA last year. Many exporters, particularly smaller businesses, have not filed the compliance paperwork.
And what I have been seeing is that more and more businesses are rushing to become CUSMA compliant. Something that I have been criticizing for a long time, that in Canada we have that complacency, or shown this complacency, we have had this free trade for a long time.
And for sectors not covered under CUSMA, the trickle-down costs will also add up for consumers. Take the 50% slapped on aluminum.
Any canned drinks will increase per can between 3 and 5 cents, right? This is the net effect of cost on the producer of the canned drink. But by the time it's handed down to the tariff, it's 10, 15, 20 cents to the consumer.
Other sectors like steel, lumber, and automobiles have also taken a big hit, and the cost of things like appliances are likely to keep going up. Heather.
Geneviève Bushman in Montreal. Geneviève, thanks. Dry, hot weather and lightning strikes have sparked a surge in wildfires across British Columbia. The number of active wildfires has doubled from 60 to 120 in just 24 hours. Some alarming video and pictures of a major fire near Lytton in the interior, where evacuation orders remain in place for First Nations communities. Firefighters in Peachland in the Okanagan are making progress on a grass fire as some residents have been allowed to return home. A wildfire has also popped up in Pitt Meadows in the Metro Vancouver area. Smoke from wildfires in the prairies is again casting a blanket of poor air quality over Manitoba, prompting advisories and affecting those with asthma and other health conditions, many of whom have already had to flee their homes because of the fires. CTV's Alex Carpa has been speaking with evacuees in Winnipeg about the situation. Alex.
Heather, plain and simple, the smoke is pretty bad. At times, it's hard to breathe. Your eyes begin to start watering when you come outside, and I can actually feel it in my throat, making things pretty dry at times. But I'm speaking from Winnipeg, hundreds of kilometers away from where fires are actively burning in the northern part of the province. Environment and Climate Change Canada says Winnipeg and the city of Flin Flon in northwestern Manitoba are seeing air quality index ratings of over 10 plus, which is the highest rating you can have. These warnings come as the province is dealing with 136 active wildfires throughout the province. I spoke to one resident in Flin Flon who says the situation there continues to worsen hour by hour, with the air smelling like a campfire.
My husband and I, we both have like scratchy throats. We've been coughing, lots of runny noses and things like that. And yeah, in the air, it smells terrible.
Data from Environment and Climate Change Canada shows the month of July was the smokiest month on record in Winnipeg, with 172 hours of smoke observed in the city, up 9 hours more than the previous record set in 1963. Environment and Climate Change Canada says smoky conditions are a health risk to everyone, including seniors, pregnant women, and children. The weather agency says smoky conditions can reduce visibility, and people are encouraged to limit their time outdoors. Heather.
Alex Carpa in Winnipeg. Coming up, one of the world-famous Dion quintuplets passes away.
It was the feel-good story of the Depression.
Looking back at the family that became a phenomenon. The family of a missing New Brunswick kayaker say they have recovered his body 1 week after his disappearance. Luc Bourgeois left the Pointe-de-Chêne wharf in his kayak last Thursday, but wasn't seen after that. His cousin told CTV News his kayak and life jacket were found sometime later that day. Multiple agencies and dozens of volunteers were involved in the search. In a Facebook post, Bourgeois' mother wrote, "We are extremely saddened, but beyond relieved he has been found." One of the world-famous Dion quintuplets has died at the age of 91. The family became a global sensation after their birth in 1934. At the time, they were believed to be the first quintuplets to survive past infancy. CTV's Eric Tashner has more.
That's the entire family.
When Cecile Dion was born with her 4 sisters in this home on May 28, 1934 in Corbeil, little did she know that her family would become as famous as rock stars and movie stars.
You know, it's a part of Canadian history.
Their births were a miracle at the time, during the difficult Great Depression, as they were the only quintuplets to survive more than a few days.
It was the feel-good story of the Depression.
This pushed the sisters into the spotlight, and some considered their birth to be the 8th wonder of the world.
And that's where they were kept.
Nephew Brian Callahan reflects.
Well, it's a story that has to be shared with the rest of the world. People seem to forget.
In March 1935, the Ontario government declared the Dion Quints special wards of the Crown. It was said to be an effort to keep the babies at home and not exhibited in Chicago. But their lives would end up on display anyway, and millions descended onto North Bay and Quintland.
For the public to come and see them play in a playground area like a circus act, basically.
The sisters helped put North Bay on the map and changed the area forever. The city grew with new motels and restaurants and better highway access. In 1998, the province apologized to the 3 surviving Dion sisters and awarded compensation for being exploited as children. The birth home now turned into a museum where countless people visit and remember.
We just hope it never happens again.
Cecile is survived by the last remaining quintuplet, Annette, her other family members and friends, and the countless Canadians who remember the extraordinary story of the Dion quintuplets.
Cecile has struggled with her health near the end, so it was difficult to hear that.
With Cecile's passing, the museum is hoping people will take the chance to visit and remember the struggles the sisters went through of not having a normal family life while growing up.
It's a sad day, obviously.
Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Still ahead is a disturbing spike in attacks. One city's effort to take the sting out of a troubling trend. The city of Saskatoon is making it harder to purchase bear spray. This comes as police deal with a rapid spike in attacks using the substance right across the city. CTV's Allison Bamford joins us. This involves a change in bylaw. Allison, how bad is the issue?
Heather, in the first half of this year, Saskatoon police have recorded nearly 300 bear spray and pepper spray attacks. Now, to put that into perspective, in all of 2024, there were 367 incidents recorded. And bear spray attacks involving youth, well, those numbers are growing even more, up 500% since 2021. Earlier this week, City Council unanimously approved bylaw changes that will make it harder to buy bear spray in the city. Changes requested by Saskatoon police in an effort to curb the attacks. Under the new rules, bear spray can't be publicly displayed. Customers must be 18 years or older and produce 2 pieces of ID. The buyer's name, age, address, and phone number must be recorded, along with the product details, including brand and serial number. And the store must keep these records of sale for 2 years. Local sporting goods shops we spoke to say the new regulations require a bit more training and information collecting on their end, but the process should be pretty straightforward.
Well, I don't think it's too much. It's just whether that makes a difference in the long run of where the bear spray is getting into the hands of people who aren't using it outdoors for safety against actual bears.
Store owners say those looking to buy bear spray for the wrong reasons will likely stop shopping at local businesses. But the bylaw won't do much to prevent them from purchasing it online or outside of the city. Heather?
Allison, thank you. It was a ruckus scene in Montreal last night where rising Canadian tennis star Victoria Mboko's run at the National Bank Open continued.
Next in Coco Golf. Victoria is victorious.
With the crowd behind her, the 18-year-old from Toronto came from a set down to defeat Marie Buskova. Now Mboko faces the toughest test in the tournament as she takes on top-seeded American Coco Gauff tomorrow. A SpaceX rocket carrying 4 crew members is on its way to the International Space Station.
Ignition, engine's full power, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go NASA, go through 11.
Together we rise.
The Falcon 9 rocket successfully blasted off from the Kennedy Center in Florida this morning. The launch was a day late because of bad weather. 2 NASA astronauts, 1 from Japan and 1 Russian cosmonaut, are on board. They are expected to dock overnight and replace the existing crew for a 6-month mission. After the break, astrotourism. The dark sky sights lighting up the East Coast. Astrotourism is one of the fastest growing kinds of tourism on the planet right now. In case you're wondering, it doesn't involve actually going to space. Instead, the focus is on stargazing and observing the beauty of space from right here on Earth. And Southern New Brunswick wants to make a name as the spot to do it. CTV's Sarah Plowman now on the stellar view from that province.
Fundy St. Martin's is coastal and quaint.
hugged by sea caves shaped by the Bay of Fundy, the world's highest tides.
You don't need any fancy gadgets.
But for many locals, the best show is at night.
These stars and these nights, I feel that many people have taken it for granted.
Far from big city lights, darkness exposes so much.
We see the Milky Way stand right up. You see that ancient nebulous cloud streak right across the sky.
Stéphane Picard runs an astrotourism business that shows people how to stargaze. He's part of a push to make Fundy St. Martin's and other nearby parks designated dark sky sites. 2 nearby parks are already designated. His dream is to create a dark sky corridor where light pollution will be mitigated.
At least 6 certified dark sky sites in the stretch of about 160, 180 kilometers, which would be the highest concentration of dark sky sites in the world.
Canada has dark sky sites already. There are pockets of them as astrotourism keeps growing. But to see a corridor along this Fundy coast, that would be a first. The Area Chamber of Commerce sees astrotourism as a way for people to come, play, and stay.
And having something like, this amazing dark sky and the fact that we've protected it brings people here, which also, it's a web of win-win-win.
The municipality sees opportunity, but also a lot of questions, like how will light pollution be measured and enforced?
We'd like to have more information before council says, yes, we're standing behind this and we're going to move forward.
For Picard, it's a chance to preserve what's already here.
80% of the world potentially does not see what we see. We've lost our intimacy with the night sky.
A sky that when you look up, you can't help but be humbled. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fundy St. Martin's, New Brunswick.
That is our newscast for this Friday. Thank you for watching. I will be back tonight with CTV National News at 11. I hope you can join us. For ongoing coverage of Canada's top stories, tune in to CTV News Channel. I'm Heather Butts. Your local CTV News starts right now.